So I actually had the script written months ago and was planning on adapting in a month, but recent developments with Toonami apparently coming back from the Saturday midnight block, this forced my hand. But only on Fridays at 5, the worst time slot. Normally this would be cause for celebration, kinda like Checker Past was for the old cartoons, but all I feel is indifference. And why should I care? They are doing classic animes to start off with and see if the kids like it or not. I say with all the anime you see everywhere from reference to Twitter profiles, I say yes. And this just leads to the question, why they haven't done this before? Why is there no anime channel? Why is television very anti-anime?
Saturday anime on the Sci-Fi Channel next.
I think the closest we have to an anime channel is Retro Crush, but why has no one really brought it to cable? We did in the 90s, bringing anime to kids everywhere, but for some odd reason, you saw them kind of disappear into the ether in the 2007-2008 era. Yeah, you had Toonami in the midnight block allowed for edgier content, but by then, I was a grown-ass adult, and am I really gonna watch new episodes or old episodes one night a week on Saturday night and stay up till 5? There are a little million other things I would rather be doing than watching anime one time a week. I could see if this was 30 years ago, and everyone was basically just learning about anime, but you had 30 years of it now. From internet and TV, to seeing kids increasingly wearing anime shirts, and even manga getting their own section at Barnes & Noble. What is stopping from an anime-only channel? I'll divide this into sections. First, audience. Is there one large enough? I refer to seeing how they own their own section at the mall, and more anime shirts than Disney or Looney Tunes shirts are seen. So yes. Second, is there enough content? To fill a channel? Yes. Obviously, from old and new to bizarre and weird. But I know money talks, so we will go with the profitable or most money-driven ones. And that's the third. Is it profitable? So what does an anime have to do in order to be a success? I would say they need to pass at least $1 billion to be considered a franchise. At least enough to invest in. Next, normally the cost might have gotten a second wave of sales from DVD, Blu-ray sales, but with physical media being pushed out, and since most people really got into anime from other ways, they had to rely on merchandise. We could still use sales numbers since when an anime comes out, the manga sales spike up usually, and when something big happens, another spike. I will also say how memeable it is. Anime has the advantage here, but if it keeps people talking about it, that's all that matters to executives. Also, culturally, how recognizable is it? A bit subjective, but a factor to consider. Now let's see who has made $1 billion. I'll use Wikipedia as the shorthand, but it's not accurate. Like, I see Blue's Clues up here, but not Barney the dinosaur. So just under 130 names come up. These range from all your favorite films, comic books, video games, even greeting cards. Of this list, about 25 are from Japan, about 20 is some sort of anime attached to it, so this adds up to about 20% of the list, which I say you have more than enough to work with. So okay, you have the franchises, now what about the merchandise? If you're worried about sales, I don't think that'll be a problem. If you have the pop-up shops, billboards, plane, trains, and automobiles, that's covered in the stuff. You even get them in the theme parks. But that is just there. What about in the West and everywhere else? Well, you have McDonald's recent campaign that celebrated everything anime related. You could go to any mall and guarantee to find at least one anime themed store. And if there's a book or video store, they usually get their own section. Also t-shirts and plushies. You even get a few graphic tees that are selling at JCPenney's. You also might have a Spencer's or a Hot Topic to help out. Now, on to the memes. I believe you could study a franchise cultural impact by how many memes can be made out of it. You can't really force a meme, you can only go along with it. Japan probably has their own standard of what is memeable, but we will stick with the West, since that is where the hang-up is. Also, I can't read this. As far as memes, while you might get a Spider-Man franchise full of them, they do have a tendency to try to, how do you do, fellow kids?
No, I am. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
X-Men killed the Juggernaut one, and sometimes they will spend money on the meme and not get the joke.
It's Morbin time.
I will give this one to the West, not because when they try their hand in it, but because Japan won't even acknowledge it sometimes. In the West, you might see them lean into a meme after 5 years or so, Japan, I see as being more cautious and will wait decades before they even acknowledge it. Is it because you're afraid to try? I mean, yes, but if you're the first at something, you might have everyone start copying you. And yes, anime adaptations have been missed and really missed. You do have contenders of doing it right. Video game movies used to be bombs or B movies, but now we are starting to see what to keep, what to reduce, and expand on. Is it because of stories like these? Worried about sexual and violent content that kids might see? Because first off, we know the difference, and to prove that, I could give anime fans PTSD with one title. Boko. No. Pico. And if you're worried about it being harmful to kids, you must be nice from that glass house. I think this comes down to a combination of two answers. The first is simplest. Money. Anime is expensive to make and to sell. While you might be able to get steelbooks of Ghibli films, not everyone is backed by Disney. And going back 30 years ago, they used to sell VHS of movies in an episode or two for 30 bucks. Repeat, 30 bucks. In the 90s. So between import cost and manufacturing cost, not knowing if this will succeed or not, is it any wonder that they switched over to streaming where the cost disappears? That does lead to the second answer, risk. One reason I think the 90s was the innovative era for movies and television is because people bought physical media, but also went to the movies. That Greenlight show sums it up, but it's true. A movie could be a success even if you bombed in the theater. You had a second chance. You had a second chance to wait for the VHS sales to recoup the cost. And with that safety net, studios could actually do more riskier projects. But now with movies costing near 250 to 500 million to make and to break even, all those movies basically need to pull a Barbie every single time. And that's why we get all these reboots, remakes, reimaginings, reloaded, remixed, redacted, and all that jazz. And do you want to see something you love be turned into a live-action CGI corpse?
Busted to go with those fucking hot dogs and sell you the pair of them for 500 fucking yen. How do you like those bargains, baby?
That's just money-wise. Manga and anime producers don't want their properties to be westernized and completely strip them of their identity. There was a reason the Netflix meme became popular. But back to Toonami coming back. Like back in the day, they won't play all the way through. Only 3/4 of the way through, and then back to the beginning again. There does seem to be a weird rule or mannerism that they have to stuff all their more mature cartoons. You have to stuff them into the Friday and Saturday night time slots where they will die. I would say this was fine 10 years ago, but I'd be lying. 2014, streaming was actually good. You could literally have Netflix and be fine. Ah, well, you figure it out. Anyway, most kids, once they discover anime and how to navigate the seas, they don't bother with cable anymore. Another tangent for another day, but this is probably what killed all these shows between the discovery of streaming and the time slot they decided to give them. So yeah, while this is a nice gesture, too little too late. If you truly want to win audiences back, make it 5 days a week like in the olden days, or just have an anime channel. But until that day comes, I'll be on the high seas where all the good anime is. No ads and no cut content. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.